This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, plus Alex
I
and
didn't want to
Nate
mess it up this time. I wanted it to be firm.
with Sam.
Hey.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
Mm-hmm.
A little bit louder now. A little bit louder now. Sorry, I just got into it.
Good, I liked it.
Nothing wrong with it. Today is Monday, January 9th. This is our first, normal episode of the year.
Yeah, we had an intermission there.
Do you think that the episode of Jim's House wasn't normal?
It was definitely not normal.
Are we ever normal?
No.
Okay, just clarifying.
There was hot sauce. There were children.
There was a dog.
There was a dog.
I love the dog. And the children, but really the dog.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel day to day, Jim? I love my children, but I really love that damn dog.
Yes. Most days, yes.
Lucy's the most lovable creature.
Thank you. Thank you. And then you guys leave, and all shit chaos breaks loose in the NFL.
It is. This week will be jam-packed with the NFL chat, some college football discussion going into the College Football National Championship will be happening today. Again, today's Monday, January 9th. First, as Jim alluded to, Damar Hamlin, his family, and all those around him continue to have our thoughts as he continues his recovery from what I'm going to say is the most chilling event on a football field in our lifetimes.
Yeah, honestly, this is bad to say. I don't know. I was thought about it afterward a lot, and I was glad that we had recorded earlier in the day and had done because if that would have happened while we were actively recording, I was speechless.
Yeah, I agree.
Do we think Cincinnati's field's cursed after the whole Ryan Shazier thing, and now you've got Damar Hamlin?
Ooh.
I don't know if it's cursed. It's definitely freaky.
Well, what others? I think there's been Antonio Brown's injury happened on that field.
Maybe Antonio Brown cursed that field.
That may be more appropriate. There was one other injury that occurred on that field. These were head and neck related. This was obviously not specifically that.
I'll tell you what, Buffalo's cursed. They had another team member that may have passed away. Go through this saga this week. I'll look it up on the Instagram while
They had a announcer.
Yeah.
It was an analyst. It was not it may have been a former player, but was not. He was I believe a member of the organization to some capacity.
That's what I mean, another member of their organization.
Yeah. And I think that happened on Sunday evening as well.
Yeah.
Or late Sunday night.
They've had blizzards, they've had the Hamlin situation, they've had the grocery store shooting in Buffalo. The town of Buffalo has not had a great year, and we're into the new year, but 12-month calendar, it's not been great to Buffalo.
All right. Any other thoughts on Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills?
Well, are we going to get into that further, or that's all we're going to say about it?
If we want to talk about anything more right now, I think we may as well just go with it. So,
medical expert.
Yes.
The odds of that happening, what they're calling commodious, whatever
they are only officially calling this a cardiac event at this point. There's a lot of speculation about what this was.
Commotion cordis is the speculative incident.
And that's a diagnosis by ruling out everything else, by exclusion, correct?
Basically, yeah. There's no test to say because he's not hooked up to an EKG machine when the hit happens.
Right.
But the concept of it is that there is at the peak of the T wave, I believe, and I might be wrong on the exact placement, but it has to come with literally a exact right second with impact at the exact right time. It's the same concept as why little leaguers wear chest protectors a lot when they're pitching and standing close to because when you see kids get hit with a ball and drop, it's usually that. It's rare, but like I said, Muff said, they haven't really deemed it that. But yes, that's a possibility on the list.
is it the same odds as lightning striking, or is it?
I don't know. It's pretty. It's like it has to hit within like the right millisecond of the heartbeat.
Yeah. I think
So
the
I
most
don't know.
recent, there's been in hockey, I believe there was a
Yeah.
situation like this within the past 5 years.
Soccer had
Oh.
one last year, and in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hockey had one within the last 5 years too. And obviously everybody's recovery is different. I think the hockey player was playing again within like a week or two.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some people are not. I mean,
Some people don't recover.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if
I
you're
don't think
not-
that guy in Europe did.
If you're not somewhere where there's immediate access to an AED, CPR trained people, you know,
Which brings me to my next question, Alex.
Okay.
The heart stops, and
yeah,
I'm not saying this gentleman, I'm saying in general, the heart stops.
Yeah.
The AED machine
hmm
shocks it back.
So
The AED machine coaches you as well.
Yes. So the AED machine, basically anyone can operate it. You put on the 2 pads and it will say, stand back, analyzing rhythm. So it reads the heart rhythm. There's only so many shockable rhythms. Like if your heart is stopped, and it's in asystole, there's no it's shock advised because it's not going to fix it. Ventricular fibrillation or ventricular tachycardia are 2 rhythms that get shocked. So if you're in one of those 2, it shocks. And when it shocks, it kind of stops and gives your heart basically that chance to reset, right?
But if it doesn't find a rhythm, it coaches the person
says-
responding.
Yes, it says no shock advised, continue CPR.
Right. So it tells you.
Chest compressions, yes.
I did not know that. I thought that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's how they're set up. That's why they have them in all these places. And they're easy to use because you don't need a trained professional there at all times. Like if you're at the gym and someone says get the AED, you just get it. I mean, you can't hurt it.
Right.
You can't hurt them. So it's best to do it. And the quicker it's on, the better.
The other thing.
Oh,
that
quick with
go
that.
ahead.
Shout out to all of the
That's where I was going.
professionals on the field, the
Yeah,
athletic training
all
staffs, the
perfectly.
doctors, everybody there, the ambulance staff, the hospital staff, all of them, because without that quick action, there obviously could have been a very different outcome.
And that was my next thing. Is like, and I'm one of the guilty ones, and I apologize way ahead of time. But athletic trainers to me were broken bones, torn things. They were the people that fixed the broken stuff.
Yeah, but
I did not think of them that way. And I'm glad that they had the staff there. But holy shit! And then you start thinking about Nate. This is what I thought about you. Was how many high school events and little league games and things do we have that equipment or staff there that you're at?
Well, it's funny you say that because like after the instances I had this year with like coaches fighting and everything, they're like, "Oh yeah, now we should definitely have like cops at all these games." And it's like usually, and I think like just thinking back now, I can't think of too many like little peewee games this year where there's been an ambulance on site. Like if someone goes down, because that happened in one game this year. I remember it was towards the end of the year. We had a kid in a peewee game go down, break his ankle. And we had to wait like 5 or 10 minutes for the ambulance to get there.
Right.
So if something like that would have happened in a Pee Wee game, that kid probably wouldn't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that they're pushing for in the Little League games now. But every high school game I've been at, there's an ambulance there in the corner of the end zone every time.
They
And
don't
those-
have athletic trainers and stuff at like Pee Wee games though, right? Either.
No, high school there's supposed to be at least one certified athletic trainer, usually provided by the home team if the away team doesn't have one of their own as well.
But those AEDs aren't cheap. Like as a parent, I was like, you know what? Forget relying on everybody else. I'll go buy one. And I was like, I ain't got the dough stacks to go get one right now.
Yeah, that's why they say the odds of you surviving a cardiac arrest is much greater if it's witnessed and you're out of the house.
Yeah.
Because someone can act like that. If you're at home alone when it happens, the chance of someone finding you within time that you could be, or the chance of you living with someone who knows CPR and can call EMS, you know what I mean, and get there. But yeah, the survival chance is much greater if it's witnessed and you're out in public, because a lot of places do have AEDs now, or trained EMS around.
Wow. Kudos to everybody involved. Glad Damar's doing well. Good job.
Any final thoughts as the medical degenerate, Alex?
Nope, not really. I think, like you
I
said,
have one for you, Alex. I'm sorry. I got one last question that's been on my mind. The chest protectors that the little kids wear for baseball, you brought those up.
Mhm.
He was wearing pads.
Yeah. It's just something to absorb some of the blow. Nothing
Right.
perfect. An NFL player getting hit in those the excuse me, the pads aren't really made to like have a area over your heart. Like those baseball ones are almost like a circle of shock absorber right over that heart piece.
Gotcha.
I can't tell you. That's my speculation. That's not hard
Sure.
fact and evidence. But you think where they come together in the middle and kind of, it's just
Yep.
not the same as having a. But either way, all it is a improvement. I mean, there's still no guarantee. It's the same thing with the helmet. You still get a concussion, but it helps.
Right. I guess my question for that is like it doesn't take. How much would that take to trigger that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I want to know that. That's my curiosity.
My only comments on the situation where it was handled. At first, I think there was a lot of speculation of how it was handled from people that don't know how situations like that can be handled. But from a medical perspective, I was very impressed with the way the situation was handled, and obviously they did a great job because he's up FaceTiming his team.
Yeah, amen.
Okay. Thanks everybody for that discussion. As a reminder, this is the year that the YouTube becomes a big thing for us. So YouTube followers and those that will be getting to that fold, make your way over, keep that train rolling down the tracks. Check out the Columbus episode, which just came out over the weekend. And this upcoming week, check out Jim and me doing a hot sauce challenge as part of our Columbus visit.
Good times.
And while you're there, remember to subscribe and turn on those notifications, otherwise known as Jim.
Get the bell on?
Yes.
Get your go. Get your
I
bell.
think sure that's what you wanted.
Get your bell on. Alex, Pittsburgh Penguins update.
They are 19, 13, and 6. They are tied right now, playing against the Coyotes. They dropped in a big way over the last few weeks, sitting 6th in the Metropolitan now, 13 points behind the Hurricanes, who are in first place. So we've been kind of up and down, it seems like. We had a great start, die down, great comeback, dying down. So hopefully we can get our asses in gear.
This is typical for the Penguins.
Yes.
You usually have a mid-season
Slumber.
slump, and then they come back in that last third to quarter of the season. So we'll see. Jim, any updates on your favorite teams? Emphasis on the plural of teams.
Yep, I got 3 of them. The Jackets are at the bottom of their division. The Kraken are third in their division, and the Golden Knights are atop of the Pacific. So my teams are okay, minus the Blue Jackets. Or as people of Columbus call them, the Poo Jackets currently.
A lot of loyalty there, huh?
If you ever wondered how Columbus feels about hockey, there you go.
There it is. And lastly, before we get into this week's episode, congratulations to our fantasy football league champion this year, the Louisiana Saturday Knights, also known as baseball guru Hugh, beating out the Wakandan Warriors, aka random guru Wilk, by about a point in the
But let's
final.
not forget who got 7th place. It was me.
I'm not sure. We didn't do the 7th place game like we did the championship game, so not sure
Well,
about that one.
between me
But
and
I
Sam.
in 7th place.
And we talked about this on the way home, that I was mad because I really didn't look, and I forgot that my quarterback wasn't actually playing. So if I would have started a quarterback, I would have beat you, and it wouldn't have meant anything except for I would have liked to have beaten Sam. And I did not think at the beginning of the season the person I would most want to beat by the end of the year would be Sam. But it was.
I'm very sorry that you lost to me. Let's also not forget that Jordan got last place.
Next year, I'm coming for you, Sam.
Thank you for reminding us, Jim. Your wife has 1 year to get it together.
You're right. You're right.
I did not tell her that while we were visiting. I apologize.
And then one other thing, since we were just speaking of hockey, I saw, and I'm sure you guys because Jim, like you said in the Columbus episode, you and I are on the same Twitter. But Blake Wheeler of the Winnipeg Jets. Ready for this, Jim? I'm sure you probably saw it, though.
I did not.
So Blake Wheeler ruptured a testicle and finished the game.
Yes, I saw that, and that made me want to.
Man, hockey players are built.
That's exactly what Nate said to my mom and I when he told us.
They're just built different.
He said they're not built right.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not even gonna say different. I'm gonna go with Sam, not built correctly. Like we're
Or
missing
that.
something. We're missing something. There's some synapse that's not firing there, Alex. We need to do a study.
Wow.
Research
I don't-
hockey players.
There's
I mean,
something
it's
these-
amazing the amount of injuries you see guys come out with after the season and said, "Oh yeah, I was playing the whole playoffs with a broken foot, torn ACL, broken jaw."
It's not like they have like a broken finger, or something not major. It's literally like broken giant bones in their
Yeah.
body.
and that sport is a mix of like fast twitch and cardio. Like it's not fully
I don't know
like
if you're gonna hit if you rupture a testicle, I'm pretty sure your cardio goes down. You're done.
I just want to know
Obviously not.
what the hell is this guy's pain tolerance?
I don't
I
think
don't
there's
know.
any like injection of steroid shot that would make that tolerable.
Make that go away.
Yeah, I think that you're just.
I think maybe they just allow maybe some different muscle relaxers and pain agents. Maybe they just have like Toradol on the bench. They're just like, boop, here you go.
Yeah, but you're gonna be able to function. Oh man. And Alex, how does one heal? Whatever. Let's keep going.
I don't think I can answer that question. To be honest, I try to not look into things like that too much.
Okay.
Do you?
You know.
Good God. Okay.
Well, again, congratulations to Hugh, the Fantasy Football League champion. He gets liquor,
He gets a big bottle of liquor.
big bottle of liquor, which I will get to him some point during the golf season, I'm sure. Where it
And
will
then
be
Aaron will get a miniature bottle of liquor of our choosing.
yeah,
And Jordan, nothing.
correct. Jordan gets put on notice, or else she's gonna be relegated. This is like European soccer.
Yeah, don't
Yes.
get relegated to the D League.
Relegated to the not league, and then that would be interesting if we were to build a pool of people that could replace like the bottom two each year.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
I'm probably in the bottom two this year,
yeah.
so not this
For-
year, maybe next year.
For those that may be interested, if you are, how the commissioner, aka me, handled the situation, both Hugh and Wilk had a couple players playing in that Monday Bengals Bills game, so we decided to do a 2-week total of week 17 and 18. And unfortunately, Yahoo made this more difficult for me because Yahoo shut down all of the scoring calculations. So I had to go to a handy dandy spreadsheet, which is one of my favorite pastimes.
I was gonna say, let's be
Aw,
honest, this was not
cute.
meant to be dream up. This was
To-
excitement.
To put this in. So it was old school, not pen and paper, but it was not a live update. I did at the end of the 1:00 games, I did an update. And at the end of the afternoon games, I did an update, and neither of them have anybody in the night game. So there we are. So with that being said, let's get into the show.
Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
And start out with the NFL Week 18 breakdown.
Breakdown.
No other sound effects from anybody?
I know it's kind of.
Down, dun, dun.
Full disclosure, I'm coming from the call room at work, so my sound effects have to be somewhat modest.
Modest. Okay, fair enough.
All
Alex. Alex gets a pass. In the NFL, obviously this week was crucial to some seeding in some final playoff spots. but not as exciting as some other years have been. The most exciting was the Sunday 1:00 slate, I think, at this point, and the Sunday night game, which we'll get into a little live look in later. But in Saturday football, we had the Chiefs taking on the Raiders. And the Chiefs lock up the top seed in the AFC with their 31-13 win over the Raiders and have fun doing it, performing a ring around the rosy move before scoring a touchdown in this game. Jarrett Stidham and the Raiders can't put up points like they did last week and end their season 6-11. A disappointment, and Derek Carr likely will not be returning.
Yeah, it was very sad. The Stidham experiment is probably over.
Well, we're going to see, because obviously the Raiders are in the QB market, and there are some QBs that may be looking around.
Yeah.
If Devontae Adams chooses to stay, that's a great gig.
Right. That's a good calling card. Do we think that McDaniels keeps his job?
Yeah, there's too much money in that contract for them just to eat it.
Yeah, I agree.
How much money is sitting around in dead contracts right now? Matt Rule?
Yeah, but there's got to be a breaking point.
Yeah, there is. I think this is the one that I agree is that breaking point, and he sticks around. But TBD on who that quarterback will be week 1 next year. Next in Saturday action, we had the Titans at the Jaguars in a win and in-game for the AFC South title. The Titans trotted out journeyman quarterback Joshua Dobbs against a team that has made a 180-degree turn this season from last in the Jaguars. In Duval, the Jaguars scored 10 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to win 20-16 and get the final division winner spot in the AFC playoff picture.
Yeah.
I mean, good for if anybody told me last year at this point that the Jaguars would be playoff eligible a year later,
or division winner,
I would have been shocked. So cool.
Yeah, I think it was the Jaguars TikTok account I saw that they stitched together, someone who said, "Oh, the Jaguars making all these bad free agent signings," and the Jags just really trolled this guy.
Yeah, Christian Kirk was one that everybody was bragging on, like blah blah blah, and I think he got like one of his escalators, which was like a $500,000 salary escalator for his performance this year, which is cool.
He had a great last game, so
yeah, no, he definitely got it. I think he only needed like 50 some receiving yards or something to get it.
Yeah,
I just don't think they make it very far.
No, because who do they play? Because they're gonna be the 4 seed, right?
Yeah.
So they play the highest remaining AFC, which I think is the Jim. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's your Chargers.
Yeah, I think so.
The Chargers go to Jacksonville.
Yes, the Chargers will be traveling to Duval for that one. TBD, they will have one less player than Tua, most likely, though. More to come on that. Which brings us into the Sunday afternoon game, starting with the Browns in Pittsburgh, taking on the Steelers. Deshaun Watson and the Browns come into Pittsburgh, hoping to ruin the possibility of another winning season for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. But Kenny Pickett and the Steelers defense have other thoughts and keep their possibility for a playoff spot alive with a 28-14 win. This game is obviously going on at the same time as the Patriots-Bills.
And then the Dolphins made you cry.
Well, I'm glad that you just made this a whole lot more difficult, Jim. There's no like subtle levity to this. We're going to lead into it, talk through the games, just dash the hopes.
Yeah, like the Dolphins did to the Steelers.
I think the Jets did it more than the Dolphins.
But and I think
who are we to count on the Jets for anything this year?
I think our pal Scott even knows you can't rely on the Jets to win you a game.
No,
that's true. Jadeveon Clowney causing some buzz in Cleveland this week as he was asked.
He did Cleveland things. Doing Cleveland things.
I'm going to say Jadeveon Clowney has done Jadeveon Clowney things because this is not abnormal for him to do.
They're all jabrones.
So Jadeveon Clowney pretty much said, "Oh, well, you know, the reason that I don't have a lot of stats is because Myles Garrett gets the better matchups because they want to, you know, put him over, using some gym wrestling terms." And said, "I doubt that I'm going to be here because I'm not Myles Garrett, blah, blah, blah." So they just said, "Okay, dude, deuces, have a good life."
Yeah, I don't know what Cleveland does to fix this. Like, to become a better organization, I honestly couldn't tell you.
I mean, they did not finish the season poorly. I think they won 5 of their last 7, maybe.
with Jacoby Brissett.
I still don't see how they're going to fix themselves.
TBD. Alex, do you have something else to say there?
No. Kudos to the Steelers for finishing strong.
Another winning season?
Another winning season in the books. They look good today. They had many different ball carriers. It was nice to kind of see the Steelers go back to that heavy hitting run game. Derek Watt got a touchdown. Did you see the Watt brothers coming in there in JJ's uniform?
Yes, cool. I did see that.
What do you guys think the Steelers need to be better next year? Like, what are the parts they're missing?
Yeah, offensive line, and they need to find some better cover linebackers. Those are the two areas I think they need to focus on.
Okay.
Next, we have the Ravens at the Bengals. The Bengals clinched the AFC North Division and avoid a possible coin toss situation by beating the Ravens 27-16. Did anyone see Joe Mixon's first touchdown celebration?
Yeah, he'll have a nice fine coming, I'm sure.
Oh, most definitely. Nate, you may recall this or anybody else. What was the situation that had to play out for the coin toss?
I think the Ravens had to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to think.
I think there was one other thing, I think, that went with it, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was that. And then
I think the Bills lose.
Yeah, something like that. It would have been between the Bills and the Bengals. They would have to do a coin toss to see who would have been the number 2 seed or something.
Yeah. Which Joe Mixon had already gone to the social media to express his displeasure, saying that the rules don't matter anymore, apparently.
Well, I'm not getting into this. I'll not let this be. The Zach Taylor raised a great point. If anybody's listening, go look up Zach Taylor's points on this about how the NFL works and how they look at all things black and white, and then they get to this, and it's we're gonna change the rules a bit. And that is a fair point on Zach Taylor's. I have a theory that, and this is Jim in conspiracy land, I have a theory that game ending between the Bills and the Bengals, a lot of that was spurred on by Zach Taylor just from watching the body language and comments afterwards. And I don't think the NFL was willing to do any solids for Zach Taylor. I think he might have pissed some people off with his "we're not playing this game tonight."
That was both coaches deserve a lot of credit for that.
I didn't say that they didn't deserve credit, but the way that he postured himself, he wasn't very.
They weren't the all telling overlords. Like, he came out and was like, "No, I'm going to make this decision for us."
Yeah,
correct. He was very vocal about it was our call.
Next, we have the Vikings in Chicago taking on the Bears in a game that really didn't mean anything. The Bears tossed in Nathan Peterman, call back to a man who once had 3 interceptions on 3 straight passes, as tribute to the Vikings, who win 29-13.
But hey, congratulations to the Bears. You got the first overall pick in the draft.
Bingo. What do they need, Jim? What do they need to... They need some offensive line. Is this a Bengals situation for Justin Fields?
They need something to help his life. Or they need defensive weapons. I wouldn't be totally upset if they went and picked up a rock star with their first pick on defense. You can always get an offensive lineman.
You can always look, right?
Yeah.
Next, we have the Patriots at the Bills. In one of the other games, having bearing on the AFC's final playoff spot, which Jim has ruined, the Bills used 2 kickoff return touchdowns to outscore the Patriots 35-23 in what I am sure was an emotional game for the Bills. The Bills were also playing to hold on to the second spot in the AFC, and they obviously did so.
So the referee on my crew is a Bills fan, and he was at the game today, and we have a group text in our crew. And one of the guys said, "Holy shit, Bill's opening kickoff to the house. How was that experience there?" He goes, "Dude, we couldn't hear shit. It was so loud there.
You can feel it through the TV."
Mm-hmm. And he sent a picture from his seat. He was in the corner of the end zone in the second level, and then went right down the sideline right at him.
That's cool.
Oh,
that is pretty cool.
That's goosebumpy. Ooh.
Who is right? Next, we have the Jets taking on the Dolphins. obviously Jim's already spoiled this. The Dolphins were winning in the situation thanks to the Patriots' loss, but doing so with third quarterback Skylar Thompson. But no need to worry, as the Jets had their third stringer out there too, Joe Flacco. With the Jets in a fight for their playoff lives, they get so the Dolphins in a fight for playoff lives. They get a fourth quarter field goal and tack on a safety for the cover. In this one, winning 11-6 and taking the final spot in the AFC playoff picture, thus eliminating the Steelers from the final spot.
Nate, that is a great picture. Nate shared us a picture of that. Those good seats. That was good stuff. Anyway, we're gonna talk about the Dolphins because they won. Good job.
They won. They're in the playoffs.
Is that one of the lower scoring games in the NFL? Like,
The funny thing is that if you'd asked me if the Dolphins, like in a low scoring game at the beginning of the season where we've gotten right now.
Right. It's funny that we had 2 third-string quarterbacks out there trying to make this happen.
well, I can't remember the coach's name for the Dolphins. What's his name?
Mike
Mike
McDaniel.
McDaniel.
Yeah, he was. I saw something last night. We're recording on Sunday, so Saturday night, that he had Tua in his quarterback plans, and obviously that's a ruse, to the Jets. But is that a believable ruse? Like, do we think he actually had it as a part of the plans?
Well, right now he's questionable for next week. It's still unknown.
Should be questionable to retire. Good grief.
That is also true. This game was I watched some of the last 5 to 10 minutes just because obviously it had bearing on the Steelers, but it was just an absolute dumpster fire of a game.
And to think that game still didn't end in scoregami.
9-6. Nah, that's not scoregami.
No, 11.
11-6. You're right. Oh wow. Yeah, I would have.
Huh.
Thanks. That final safety did give the cover to the Dolphins, though. It was a 3.5 spread.
Yeah, my brother lost the bet because of that safety.
Oh, that is awful. I probably would have been on the Jets if I had a forced choice there too. Although I probably would have been on the under more than that. Next, we have the Bucks taking on the Falcons. Bucks came into this one trying to build some momentum with their first team, but ended up throwing the rest of the roster out there to finish as the Falcons win 30-17. Falcons finish the season 7-10.
Yeah, I saw where Brady played like the first quarter and a half. Yeah. And I had no idea until my brother told me. He goes, "Oh, well, he broke his own record, and then he came out of the game." I'm like, "What record did he freaking break now?" Most completions in a season.
I did not know that.
Oh, let me see. I know I like the tweet real quick.
Huh.
Let me pull it up.
That's interesting. I did not know that he had that record going in. That's crazy to think of the type of season they've had, and he still had an opportunity.
Buccaneers Communications. Tom Brady now has 486 completions this season, breaking his own record of 485 from the previous season, the most in a single NFL season in NFL history.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. And he did it without the flagships of his career like Wes Welker. I mean, obviously there's an additional game this season, but this is not the season I would have expected it to happen.
Right.
How are you feeling about the Bucks going into the playoffs, Nate?
I mean, I think offensively they're starting to finally get it together, but I'm still not sold. I mean, Dallas is who I wanted them to get in the first of all the 3 teams that are available for them to play. Because again, we'll get into the Dallas game here in a little bit, but I like their chances against Dallas. From there on out, I'm not too hot about what they've got to go through. But
yeah,
I would have liked to see Kyle Trask play a little bit more today just to see what we've got going down the line.
Yeah.
But
who came in? Was it Blaine Gabbert? Yeah.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert played second. I think he played the rest of the second quarter, most of the third, and then I think Trask came in and mop up duty in the fourth when they were down.
Yeah. All right. Next to the Panthers at the Saints in the No One Cares Bowl. Sam Darnold took on Andy Dalton, and the Panthers win 10-7.
Yeah, that was definitely a No One Cares Bowl. I don't think I even checked the score on it one time.
I think we had red zone on at one point, and the only interesting thing I saw was when Deonta Foreman and whoever for the Saints each threw a fist or threw a punch at each other and both got ejected.
Yeah, that was probably the most exciting thing that did happen in that game. This was so much not on my radar that after I did the game updates after the 1:00 games for Wilk and Hugh in the fantasy football championship, I totally forgot that Taysom Hill was even playing in this game for Wilk, and I left it blank. And he texted me and said, "Hey, did Taysom Hill have any points?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even realize they were playing." Next, if that was the No One Cares Bowls, this was the Stink It Up Bowls. The Texans take on the Colts.
God, such two shitty teams.
This was another one of those who wants the first pick in the NFL draft. Texans were a willing participant, maybe. The Colts sure were trying to play their way into it, even though they were not even possibility for that. But there were a lot of calls that they were even tanking this game, even with the leader of men and a nobody in the NFL, Jeff Saturday. The Texans come back with a final minute drive in the fourth quarter and go for the win with a 2-point conversion to win 32-21. Texans are tied for the Bears for the worst record in the NFL, but the Bears get that first pick, as Nate has mentioned. Did anybody else see the Kayvon Thibodeau statement that he made about Jeff Saturday?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's already asset number 1 this year.
Yeah, he's definitely on the list.
Idiot.
Know a little bit about football
Jeff
history, my
Saturday.
man. Know a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Ugh.
Yes, Jim? Anything?
Not a great look.
Some people are stupid.
Yeah, some people.
Can't fix them all.
The Cards at 49ers, no doubt for the 49ers going to the playoffs as they dispose of the Cardinals 38-13, solidifying their third spot in the NFC playoff picture as they were not able to catch the Vikings, who won their game as well.
My only issue with this game is I thought the Cardinals had a chance in the beginning. I was like, hey, look at this now.
They scored a late answer to a quick touchdown, and then
Yeah.
that clean on.
Did not pan out, but I mean, cream rises to the top. 49ers, do we think with Brock Purdy at the helm, they have a chance to make a run?
He hasn't looked terrible.
As long as they don't ask him to do too much.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just gonna say that if they rely on their other solid pieces and just let him kind of
This has to me reminds me a little bit of like Ben Roethlisberger early in his career as a Steelers fan, right? He doesn't have to do too much. You just have to make a couple big throws and don't make the big mistake.
Yeah.
And you'll have a chance every game.
So you're saying there's a chance.
That's exactly what this one is. Next to the Cowboys at the Commanders. Boom, 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 boom. The Cowboys choose not to show up and get bit by Major Tutty on the way to a loss to the Commanders.
All right, first off, we're not going to talk about Major Tutty.
Didn't have the final score in this one.
Shit. It was shit. It was bad. It was poop.
Okay.
But we're not going to talk about that damn pig. Another reason for the Snyders to not be in charge of that organization. But the Cowboys' final score was 26-6. The Cowboys look like they just didn't give a shit. Zero shits.
Yeah.
Oh, it's third down. Let's Hail Mary every time. Who cares? Throw it out there and see what happens.
I mean, they really had nothing to play for because they knew Philly was going to beat the Giants. So they weren't going to win the division. They were locked in the number 5 seed.
Then sit Dak. Dak played that entire game.
Right. That's what didn't make sense to me.
It just looked like a bunch of it mentally for a team. If we're out there with our starters the entire game and we get killed by the Commanders, what good does that do going into the playoffs?
Yeah, that's definitely not a team that I would want to be on right now going into the playoffs.
No. That was really stupid. That game made I lost money. Don't get me. That's why I'm angry about it. But like as a player on that team, I'd be pissed.
Yep. That was just didn't make sense. There was just not a lot that made sense in that game.
No.
But we'll see. The Cowboys, they're in the playoff. They have a shot. They're in the tourney. Next we have the Rams at the Seahawks. The Seahawks were playing for an opportunity to stay alive in the playoff hunt, but can't hit the game-winning field goal as time expires, sending this one to overtime where Alex?
I was operating on someone's leg.
The Seahawks win with a field goal.
I assumed based on the Alex thing, but I didn't realize it went to overtime and all of that because
They did.
again,
They did.
I was watching them.
Where
Sorry,
now, and be real
relax.
honest, I know the Seahawks are still alive, and I think it's if Detroit wins, and there's got to be some other piece to that.
Detroit's been eliminated.
with the Seahawks win.
Yep.
Yeah. If Detroit
Yes,
wins,
I remember.
Seattle goes on. If
Okay.
Green Bay wins, Green Bay goes on.
Okay. That's what I thought it was, but I'm
Go
glad
Detroit.
others have looked.
Yep.
Go Lions. Alex has been rooting for the Lions all season.
If they can do nothing else good, get the Seahawks to the playoffs and get the Green Bay out. That's the goal.
I love you, buddy, but I got mine on them Green Bay Packers.
I got money on the Lions.
On the Lions. Yep. Conflicting arguments here. Next, we have the Giants taking on the Eagles. The Eagles come in looking to take the number 1 spot in the NFC and improve to a 14-3 record. And they beat the Giants 22-16. The Giants were locked in at the number 6 seed and didn't play most of their major contributors, such as Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, for most of the games. This is what we should have expected. Eagles with the number 1 spot. Talk about something we probably didn't expect to say at the beginning of the season.
No,
I'm pretty sure they didn't cover today.
No, they didn't, because I almost took that because I looked at FanDuel this morning and I'm like, how in the hell are the Eagles 16.5-point favorites in this
Yep.
game? And I looked back the last time they played. I'm like, oh, they beat them by almost 30 the last time they played.
But the Giants weren't. Yeah.
And the Giants weren't playing anybody. So I'm like, I want to stay away.
Yep.
Yup is right. Next, we have Jim's Chargers taking on the Broncos. Chargers came in
Fucking
strong.
Chargers.
Well, they were locked in at the number 5 seed after the Ravens loss earlier in the day. Head coach Brandon Staley still played most of the starters for
Pulled a
a good
Cowboys
portion of the
move.
game. But then they possibly lose Mike Williams for the first playoff game as he goes out with a back injury. Russ Wilson was looking for danger and to impress the Broncos fans for next year and possibly a new head coach. Broncos win 31-28.
So aggravating. I hope they fire that coach. I hope they fire Brandon Staley. I hope they do.
Speaking of fire coaches in this game, though, did anybody else see that the Broncos requested permission and were granted to interview Sean Payton?
John Payton. Yep.
Yes. What is he thinking? You had a good career with the Saints, man. Don't mess it up by going to the Broncos.
Doesn't meet his checklist of warm weather, though.
It does not.
That's why I'm hoping
number
they
1,
fire-
wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why I hope they fire Staley so that I'll take Sean Payton in San Diego.
What was
It was on his
warm
list.
weather? What was the other pieces there, Nate? Do you remember?
I think it was warm weather, control over like player personnel.
Yeah.
Which he won't get in San Diego. That's rule that shit out.
And then I think something about maybe bringing in some of his own coaches or something like that.
He'll get that anywhere he goes.
Yeah. I mean, Vic Fangio is one of those people that he's trying to tout right now, right?
Yeah.
We will see. Lions at Packers, live looking. How we feeling here, gents?
Packers just took a 6-3 lead after Aiden Hutchinson just sacked Rodgers on 3rd down.
I think
Let's go.
I think that was a fumble.
They showed it again. It wasn't a fumble.
I just don't like Aaron Rodgers, to be honest.
No, but I've
Sorry,
got
Alex. It'll be okay. It'll be okay when Aaron Rodgers is in the playoffs and Geno Smith is not.
No,
You'll
you
live.
snuck it right.
Muff, like
You'll
I'm
live.
rooting for the Packers tonight, but don't make me regret this. Shut your
Muff,
butt.
you shut your whore mouth.
Excuse
either
you.
way, whoever wins this game and then goes on with a Seattle or Green Bay is going to lose next week at San Francisco.
Nope. Aaron Rodgers magic.
If Green Bay goes against the 49ers, I'm not saying it's an instant win for the 49ers. I'll say that much.
Aaron Rodgers going back home to Cali. Got something to prove. Just saying. Give me the points in that one. Every time.
Yeah, but the Niners have been his kryptonite.
Well, there's a lot of things that are Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite.
Like drugs.
I don't know if that's a kryptonite. They're about to make the playoffs potentially, Jim. Does that mean it's kryptonite?
So Jim's not a fan of ayahuasca.
Just not a fan of ayahuasca.
Not a fan of Aaron Rodgers.
I think that's really what it comes down to. I agree with him.
Is the one which gives us into the playoff picture. Everything has been solidified in the AFC. We have the Chiefs with the number 1 seed with the first round bye. In the first round, we have the Bills hosting the Dolphins. We have the Bengals hosting the Ravens, and we have the Jaguars hosting the Chargers.
I think the Chargers could possibly beat the Jaguars. I think the Chiefs destroy the Dolphins.
Chiefs do not play the Dolphins, Jim. The Bills play the
Yeah.
Dolphins.
The Bills will destroy the Dolphins.
No, Chiefs and Bills both have buys, don't they?
No, this is the seven.
just-
This is the first year of the 7-team format. Only the number 1 seed
Help.
gets the bye.
Help.
I think the most intriguing matchup has got to be the Bengals Ravens. Not only
Right.
because
Yeah, that'll be a good matchup.
division on division, but you're playing the same week or the same team back-to-back weeks at the same field.
Yep.
How much is your game plan really going to change?
Yeah.
And is Lamar going to play?
Right, that's the big one.
They said he
There's-
is.
There's a lot of consternation and concern, and some people having some very negative thoughts towards Lamar Jackson right now because of the way he's handled these last 6 weeks, to the point where some are questioning how much he is actually hurt and if he is milking this.
Yeah, but if you milk it and then you come in and you beat the Bengals, pretty sure they love him again.
Pretty sure they will not hate him. That is for sure. But
I don't think the
Totally.
Ravens can beat the Bengals.
I think with Lamar coming back, I think that adds a new wrinkle into the playing 2 weeks in a row.
I agree.
Right, that's 2 weeks in a row, but now we have to prepare for a different quarterback. I almost think it could potentially be a all-time gamesmanship move, right? Well, we're not going to try it out this quarterback because we play you next week. We want you not to be fully prepared, and have a week of preparation of what that looks like.
Mhm.
We'll see. And in the NFC, obviously, the 7th place is on the line with the Packers playing right now against the Lions, but the Eagles have the number 1 seed and the bye, with the 49ers hosting either the Packers or Seahawks. We have the Vikings hosting the Giants, and we have the Bucks hosting the Cowboys, which, as Nate said, was the matchup that he preferred.
He did say it.
I like to watch the Vikings Giants game. If I'm picking one that I think will be fun to watch.
Vikings is interesting, right? I mean, this is the will
Yeah,
Kirk
Bucks,
Cousins.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm interested in both of those games. Vikings, Giants, Bucks, Cowboys. Will Kirk Cousins be able to come through in a big game? And what will the Cowboys do in a playoff matchup against the GOAT, Tom Brady?
Well, and the Vikings Giants just played a doozy a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
right? When was in the Vikings that came back and went on
On a field goal.
it was like a 60-yarder or something.
Yeah.
And
It's
you've got,
entertaining.
the Giants pretty much rested. They rested Daniel Jones. They didn't really play Saquon Barkley. There's a lot going into that game, and they're two, I would say, similar types of teams, right? They hope that the running game will set up the pass game, and that could be a pretty physical game. So I'm interested in that one. Do we think that the Eagles ultimately come out of this conference, or do we think that there's
I don't
going
think
to
it's
be
a free pass yet.
okay?
Yeah, no, I think someone could catch him sleeping.
I agree. More to come in this week's betting show coming out on Thursday, which brings us out of the NFL and the men's league into
College football breakdown.
Yeah, the breakdown.
It's fine.
This is the end.
the breakdown of one game, or the discussion of one
This is
game.
the
It's not even a
sadness.
breakdown. Is it
So
sadness? It's
yeah.
sadness. Is it sadness because it's the last game, or sadness because we're talking about the last game and Ohio State is not involved in the last game?
Yes, all the
Both.
above.
Oh, every one of
All
those
the
things,
above.
yes. All right, so we do have the national championship game taking place today on Monday, with TCU taking on Georgia. I believe the last I saw it was still about a 12 and a half point line.
I think
Georgia
so.
favored.
Let me check right now. It
Right.
is 13 and a half.
13 and a half now.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do we feel are the keys to victory for both sides? Let us start with Georgia as the favorite. What are the keys to victory for Georgia?
Beat the shit out of that offense. Like, just pummel the hell out of that offense. Make them earn every yard.
Good. Other thoughts, Nate, Alex?
I think if you're TCU, you got to get off to a fast start. But I also saw that TCU starting running back was like 50-50 going into the championship game. So I think they've got to really try to get some other playmakers involved, like the receiver, that Johnson, get him involved early and score early. Because if you let Georgia get out in front of you and you got to play from behind against them, it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I agree with Nate. I was gonna do if you're looking for a Georgia key, I think it is defensive pressure coming at them fast and strong. And I think that if you're TCU, it's jumping out early. I don't think you're gonna come from behind on Georgia. I think they
Yeah, I agree with Georgia is really just stay true to what you are. You're a strong defense with an opportune offense and one that's able to move the ball and take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. Obviously, in the semifinal, Georgia put up some points, and I'm going to say that they need to be willing to and able to put up points, because if TCU's offense does catch fire, this could turn into a shootout very quickly.
I agree, and I disagree with how you phrase that. Ohio State hung in there with Georgia because Georgia kind of played soft with them. They didn't punch them in the mouth. Like, they allowed Ohio State to think they were in it, and then Ohio State started really playing Ohio State ball. Whereas I think sometimes Georgia comes out, and once Georgia starts asserting that almost like Death Star, here we are, punch you in the mouth football, teams start cowering down. And I think had they done that to Ohio State, it would have been a different kind of game. I think if they do that to TCU, especially the receivers, get physical with them, that explosion we don't have to worry about.
Right.
And I got money on TCU, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
What is one thing that TCU needs to do in order to win, Alex, as the Big 12 supporter?
I don't know. I think I stick to the come out and have a good offense and play fast and keep the mistakes to a minimum. You're obviously the underdog. Your best bet's going to play a clean game, obviously, which is a given. But I guess you don't have room for error. You don't have room to. I think if you get down 10-0, it's gonna be hard to get off your back. I think that you need to scoring first would be ideal.
Indeed. Nate, what is one key to victory for the TCU Horned Frogs?
You got to win the battle of field position early if you can't score.
Okay, Jim, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Keep that quarterback upright. Protect his ass all day. I mean, he's the motor and the mentality. He's their lifeline. Keep him upright and clean.
Yeah. For me, the TCU key to victory is splash plays. You've got to have at least 2 or 3 big plays in this game in order to stay competitive. I don't think they're in a position to be able to sustain drives all night and be competitive. They're going to have 2 or 3 big plays to get them in this game.
All night.
And what are our predictions for this game? Score, starting with Alex.
No, I score. I have money on TCU plus 12.5. I want to go because I would win a lot of money on a tip board. I will go Georgia 35, TCU 23.
Those are your tip board numbers.
Within 12, and I would hit the final tip board number.
There you go. All right, Nate.
I think I even said back in the Columbus episode I like Georgia by 10. So I'm going to say Georgia wins 31-21.
Okay, Jim.
I like Nate's score. I liked Alex's score, but I felt like I might be biased because I want Alex to hit money. I think realistically, I like Nate's score.
All right. I am going to say Georgia 35-14 to win the Natty in this one, which also gives me my under. Which brings us to the end. Well,
the end of
you know
what?
Nah, we're not going to go to the end. We're just going to go straight into some final football thoughts before we get into this week's Would You Rather. So, something of note, the Pro Football Hall of Fame finalists have been announced for 2023, and they are.
Now, when you say finalists, these are people that like are the last. Are these people in?
These are the finalists, Jim.
So they're
If they
not
were
in.
If they were in, they would be
They
Hall
made
of
the
Fame
final cut.
inductees.
How many do they take?
It's based on vote percentage, I believe. You have to get so many votes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Those names are Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Dwight Freeney, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Albert Lewis, Darrell Rivas, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, and Darren Woodson. If we were to pick two from this list that we think are getting in, who are the two that we would choose? Start with Jim.
I want Jared Allen, and I'm down between one of the Thomases. So I'm gonna go with Zach Thomas.
Okay. Nate.
I would love to see Devin Hester get in because he changed the return game forever. As a player and growing up, he was always so much fun to watch. But I don't know if he's going to get in just on being a return specialist in his first year.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see Dwight Freeney get in because he's another guy I grew up watching, and he basically just patented the spin move for defensive ends.
Right.
And he wreaked havoc. So if I had to say two, I mean, as a Bucs fan, I would love to see Rondé Barber. So give me him and Dwight Freeney.
Okay, Alex?
I was also going to say Rondé Barber as one of mine. I think, again, that's biased based on the time I grew up watching football. Maybe Joe Thomas. Maybe the next second one I'm torn.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Joe Thomas. Obviously a Browns offensive lineman who survived playing in Cleveland for his entire career.
He deserves something good to come out of that.
Yeah, and everybody's kind of talked to him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'm going to say that he gets in. And as my second person, I am going to go with Revis Island. Give me Darrell Revis from Aliquippa, Pittsburgh.
I don't like him.
Well, you know what? That means he was good, Alex. That means he was good. All right, and that wraps up this week's football breakdown.
Breakdown.
Eating dirt or licking a stick. Would you rather? Just kidding. We're going to ask way more interesting questions than that in this week's edition of Would You Rather?
What was the first one there?
Eating dirt.
Eating dirt or licking a stick.
All right, so this is Would You Rather. Sam, you're going to have to. I'm sorry, I made this very sports related, so we'll see what happens. I think the last three you might be able to jump in.
I'll play on the fly. If I
Okay.
don't know, I'll not say anything.
So, for the rest of time, you turn on your sports networks and you have to listen to Stephen A. Smith deliver you sports news or Skip Bayless. First one up. Whoever goes, I'll give it to Muff first.
I have I'm not gonna say an appreciation, I have a different view of Stephen A. Smith after he did an interview with Pat McAfee this past week. And knowing that Stephen A. Smith has taken control of his own media journey makes me respect the fact that he was willing to come outside of the ESPN situation and do his own thing. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Stephen A. Smith.
Nate?
As much as I'd love to hear Stephen A. Smith go, how about them Cowboys? I can't stand him any other day of the week. So give me Skip Bayless, even though he's an asshat too.
Alex?
I am with Muff on Stephen A. Smith because he's like literally one tiny notch less annoying than Skip Bayless.
I would probably go with Stephen A. Smith because if I saw Skip, I'd break a TV. I hate Skip Bayless. Okay, next up. Who would you rather have as a teammate? You are playing with him. Johnny Manziel or Baker Mayfield? We're going to start with Alex.
I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield because I think he's a better competitor and football player. So if you're gonna have to deal with someone, I would rather deal with Baker.
Nate.
I agree with Alex. I wouldn't want Johnny Manziel on my team.
Muff.
If I was in college, Johnny Manziel. If I was playing in the NFL, Baker Mayfield.
Valid point.
I'm gonna go with Johnny Manziel because if you lose, you're gonna feel better partying with Johnny Manziel.
Not wrong.
Which is why I'm saying in college I would do that, because in the NFL, if we do that too much, then I may not get paid.
That's true. All right, number 3. I'm gonna start with Nate. Would you rather get tackled full speed by Mr. Clowney or have to stop Mr. Chubb?
Since you phrased it Mr. Chubb, I think I'd rather get tackled by Clowney because probably won't want to be there, so it wouldn't be that bad.
Okay. Muff.
I'm gonna say try to stop Chubb, because you've given me an out. I just have to make an attempt.
That's
that
true.
attempt could be a very half-assed effort. You've told me that I'm going to get tackled by Jadeveon Clowney full speed.
But if you try to stop Chubb, then you half-ass it. You're gonna be seen that that guy just whiffed.
Oh, that's fine. If you're tossing me into the middle of an NFL game, I am okay with looking like a total terrible human being in the NFL.
Okay.
But you've told me that I'm going to get tackled by an NFL defensive player at full speed. That's probably going to hurt.
Alex.
I'm with Muff, honestly. I was thinking the same thing. I would rather try to stop someone running like that than be ran at like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if I move and if Clowney's trying to get me, Jadeveon Clowney's trying to get me, and I move to the left, he's going to get me. And he's in control of how we hit. If I'm trying to get Nick Chubb and it's getting a little too scary, and I move to the left, I'd rather just be known as the person that half-assed it than get flattened like a pancake.
I'll try to trip him, right? Trip him.
I'd much rather take the hit from Clowney.
Why?
Because if I survive it, that's a cool story. Whereas I know I'm going to miss Chubb. I know it. I'm going to be unsuccessful. I'm going to look like an idiot. Whereas if I get blasted by Clowney and I get up, concussed or not, if I get up, I have that experience. I survived that.
Do you remember the Michigan running back's name who got destroyed in the backfield by Jadeveon Clowney?
Yes.
What's his name?
He wasn't running back either. He was a quarterback.
Was it the quarterback?
Yeah. Long hair.
But you don't remember his name.
No.
Denard Robinson.
Denard Robinson.
Oh, Nate gave you that one.
Yes.
So
you wanted me to remember a Michigan guy? That wasn't going to happen.
You just said that you would be remembered if you were the guy who got
I would remember it, Muff.
Yeah.
I would remember it. I did that and it's successful. I would also remember.
You were not successful if you get destroyed by him.
I got back up.
Oh.
Whereas I would look like a boob if I totally missed Chubb. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a decision you make. Either you
Well,
stare
I
down
made
that
it.
you stare down that barrel and try to stop him, or you olay him.
I'm gonna take the hit.
Okay.
All right. Number 4. Would you rather have a really cool uniform with a rundown stadium or a state-of-the-art stadium with an ugly uniform? I feel like this is where Sam can come in.
I'm gonna need that again. A really cool uniform. At a rundown stadium.
Or
a state-of-the-art stadium with ugly uniform.
I think we all know where this is going.
I'm gonna have to go with the really cool uniform.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Surprise.
If I can have some sparkles, listen. When I danced, we were getting dance and we had fantastic costumes. But while they were building our studio, we literally danced in an old church with splintery wood floors, and it was terrible. But we were good and we had beautiful costumes, so it works out.
If this was the old AOL chat room days, you would hear so many doors closing right now of listeners.
Well, that was rude.
That's so true. So true.
Oh, it was great, Nate. Nate, what would you have?
I would rather have the state of the art stadium with ugly uniforms because to me, I'm like, I would rather go out and play in the best atmosphere with the best fans than to say, oh, my shirt looks cool. But hey, I'm playing in FedEx Stadium.
That's true. That's true. Alex,
I'm all about the stadium.
Muff. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Alex.
No, I'm just saying I would much rather have a better stadium than.
I'm also going to have a state of the art stadium because typically, and I'm going to give you one example that is not the case. Typically, if you have a state of the art stadium, it means you probably have an ownership group with money, an ownership group that's willing to put into other things like other facilities, higher levels of everything that goes into the atmosphere. Unless you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, where you have a fantastic stadium and you don't put money anywhere else in your franchise, and you continue to be one of the worst teams in the league. The Pittsburgh Pirates are the one place that I would say, like, no, even though PNC Park isn't a state of the art stadium anymore, it's still one of the premier baseball parks.
And it's got a great view.
Okay, so everyone outvotes me.
I haven't even voted yet.
Were you surprised?
You're gonna outvote me.
I'm more with you. I want to be in the cool uniform.
Oh, okay. I like
I'm
that.
just saying that to please Sam.
No, because I don't really care what I play in. I don't care where I play. I just want to have a nice uniform, look good doing
Jim,
it.
you've lived in a house full of women for too long. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna need to do a rescue mission.
Just
I
remember
got
this. Remember this, Jim. Whenever you say, "Oh, I love Ohio State's uniform," but they suck as a team, are you still going to be happy?
That's true. I got you. All right, next topic. Would you rather get paid a lot to be on a bad team or be paid below average to be on an elite team?
Below average to be on an elite team. No question.
Nate,
I second that.
Sam,
Make a lot of money, be on a shitty team. Make a little bit of money, be on a great team.
Make a lot of money. It doesn't matter if you suck. You can still buy cool things.
Yeah, but the glory.
Seems a material girl.
I'm going to say, if this is looking at a professional sports realm,
uh-huh.
I am totally okay as a professional athlete getting paid a lot of money to be on a bad team, because I know those are only contractual terms, which means in 3 to 4 years, I could leave and be paid below average and be on a more competitive team. How many athletes do you see make changes middle to end of their careers to search for a ring? Give me that money and give me that paper while I can get it.
I'm with Muff on that logic. Absolutely.
Which I'm gonna real quick, Damar Hamlin. So he was placed on injured reserve officially this past week, which is obviously a footnote in the whole situation. But the Bills worked it out with the NFL that he will still receive his full contract terms, because by being placed on IR, it actually, like, and this is a standard contract thing. If you're put on IR, you're automatically like cut a certain amount of your money. Like, there's a huge detract to everything that's going on. But the Bills worked it out with the NFL where the Bills will not be penalized for continuing to pay him his full contract amount.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Would you rather lose on television or win with nobody watching?
Win with nobody watching.
Yeah.
I'll lose on
Man.
television.
Do you want to be on TV? So
That
Muff
means
wants
that
a
I've
lot of
made
money
it
and
to
wants to be on
that
TV.
means that I've made it. I've made it to an area where I can at least be on the television to
So
lose
if you're
or
playing in
win.
a national championship, and it's a national championship either way.
Did either of you know that the FCS championship was played today?
Yes.
No, but I would rather have won.
Exactly, for Alex in this one. So if you were an FCS champion and nobody saw it happen,
I would rather still have won. Because
Why?
I didn't
Because
see it happen either way.
so you could be like the guy in Friday Night Lights, Permian Panthers, who had the championship ring. Telling Mike Winchell, "You can get you one of these."
Yeah. I'll be the guy down at the bar showing it off after. No, I don't know. I think win with no one watching. Like, if the power shuts out, I'd rather be playing a game and the power's off and no one's watching and win than the power come back on and me lose.
I think I'd rather win with no one watching.
See, even Sam agrees.
Yeah, me too. Muff, I hate leaving you on an island.
Fine. I'm gonna lose in the spotlight. Raking in them dough stacks. Y'all can win and make none of them monies. None of them monies.
I get you. I get you.
Bunnies.
None of the monies.
And that's all we have for Would You Rather. Next week we'll have Mount Massive with new topics. Next week's topic will be top 5 favorite Super Bowl moments.
not national championship moments.
No, Super Bowl moments.
Super Bowl moments.
We're moving past the college football. We're gonna put that to bed.
Super Bowl's a month away, Jim.
We're
wanna
still
point
gonna
that out
start
there.
with it, Muff.
Okay.
Should I start researching Super Bowl moments or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right about now.
I feel like this is gonna be a halftime show, a special.
Yeah.
Perfect. Which brings us to the end of this week's episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. As always, remember to follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff W/Jim Ampersand Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review. What are the other action verbs?
Poke, tickle, like. Get the bell on.
Smooch.
Bing. Do all of those things. Get this rocket ship continuing going toward which celestial body, Jim?
Mars.
Pluto.
Did you want me to say the moon?
Well, I mean, you typically
was-
say the moon, but
Probably where we were going with, but
we'll go to the Mars. We'll go to Mars too. Might take a little bit longer, but we'll get there.
Well, that's how I feel about the podcast. We're trying hard to get somewhere. It's gonna take a little longer.
That's it.
oh, I thought maybe it's like we were just so good we had surpassed the moon.
Well,
Yeah. Sam,
All
do you have a great snippet for today? Give us a nugget.
I don't think I really have one.
Alex's seventh
Let
place.
me look at the stupid shit Sam says. Let's
Oh.
hold on.
Look at this.
Sam is 7th place in the fantasy football league, beating Alex, even though it's unofficial.
Yeah. We went to see Cirque du Soleil yesterday.
oh boy.
Nate I thought he was gonna leave me there because he really liked this little person that was in, and by little person I mean someone like under, like 4 foot, not like a child, because that sounds creepy. He really liked this little person that floated on balloons during the show, and I thought he was gonna take her home and leave me for the circus.
And there's your snippet from Sam for the week. Maybe slightly embarrassing to Nate and maybe a lot of other people in this world. But keep this going to Mars, as Jim has said. And to do so, you have to tell a friend, make a friend, be
I miss you, Valentina.